there is an institutionalization of the digital fund industry, which is a crypto fund industry. And it's taken place over multiple years, and we are in the beginning phases of this, but this will be a very significant industry going forward in the future. I believe China will be the largest market in the world for cryptocurrency. I believe that majority of what's going to happen in 2020-21 is that how the whole world will try to cope with and figure out how to work with China. Hello everyone, it's so great to be back in Beijing. I just want to get a raise of hands. How many people here own Bitcoin? Just everybody raise your hand that owns Bitcoin. That's great. Well, there has been an announcement recently from the Chinese government about creating a digital version of the renminbi. This is one of the most significant things that's happened in the crypto world since I've been involved. This will change the balance of where crypto will be forever. And today, what I'd like to talk to you about is what's happening in the fund industry. There is an institutionalization of the digital fund industry, which is a crypto fund industry. And it's taken place over multiple years, and we are in the beginning phases of this, but this will be a very significant industry going forward in the future. Let me tell you a little bit about myself and my company. NEX Change is a digital merchant bank. We're trying to create the next version, the future of what Goldman Sachs would look like. I'm also involved in a marketplace called Nexus, which is a platform for digital funds. I spent 30 plus years as an investor involved in VC, hedge fund, asset management, prop trading, and also investing in crypto. And what we are trying to do is to understand this industry, a new asset class. You rarely have a new asset class. This is an asset class, when you look back just in the beginning of 2017, it was only 17.7 billion US dollars. And during the peak, it rose up to $800 billion and is now back to 250 billion. There are very unique characteristics of this asset class. It has low correlation. What does that mean? When Bitcoin moves up, it doesn't move up and down with the rest of the other markets. That's a very important characteristic for institutions. We believe that institutional capital will be coming into this market. We also believe that it will be a great asset class where you will have the opportunity for early liquidity exits. I'm sure you're familiar with ICOs. It was banned here in China. However, there is a new form called STOs that will allow for companies to have an ability to have much quicker exits and be listed on crypto STO exchanges. I think one of the things that's very important for me is that having been involved in the money management business for so many years, it was very hard to make money. We call that alpha. Very hard to differentiate because the market became so efficient. What we are experiencing with cryptocurrency and this whole asset class, there is a tremendous opportunity to still make a lot of money because there are so many inefficiencies. I think where we are is very interesting. Think about the size of this asset class. It's 250 billion. It represents 0.05% of all the other asset classes. But what's even more compelling is the fund industry. The penetration is 0.4% versus 17% in the traditional fund industry. What does that mean? Even if this asset class does not grow, if you just increase the penetration, you'll have a significant increase in the assets under management. Here are some of the names that are the popular funds in this asset class. We have Andreessen Horowitz. Here in China, we have Fambushi. Pantera is one of the larger funds in the Silicon Valley. So when you look at the complexion of this asset class, you have most of the funds in the United States, and then some in the Cayman, some in Singapore, but that will change. That will change because what we're seeing that's happening, and the recent announcement that took place in China, that will shift the balance more to Asia, more to China. And there are a couple different types of strategies. One type of strategy is like a venture capital fund. The other one is like a hedge fund. Those are the two general types of categories, and they're about half each. But what's interesting at this point, it is in the early stages. Most funds are less than 10 million US dollars. It's just tiny compared to what you will see in the hedge fund industry. And we're in the early phases. If you look at this chart, we're kind of like where we were in the early 1990s of hedge funds. And that became and went through a number of different phases, from institutionalization to consolidation, and now where we are to maturity. So if you're thinking about starting a crypto fund, now is a great time. It's a great opportunity. Where can you find the sources for capital to invest in your crypto fund? Well, there are fund-to-funds businesses. We run one ourselves. Family offices, other venture funds, hedge funds, and high net worth individuals. So this is one of the multiple ways of getting access to funding in your fund. But what I think is important is the trend that's taking place in this industry. This is very important. Fidelity recently did a survey, and nearly 50% of institutional investors want exposure in crypto. This is just the beginning. Family offices and investment advisors are even higher. So going forward, we should expect that large institutions will have in their portfolio crypto exposure. But there are some, what I call, drawbacks. If we don't overcome some of these hurdles, we will have still a difficult time for institutions to come in. Right now, when you look at most of the funds, they're not professionally managed. They are mostly managed because they're less than 10 million by people and managers who basically bought Bitcoin early, and they decided to create a fund, and so it's not professionally managed. But we will start to see a lot more experienced managers come into the platform. The other problem is that Bitcoin and cryptocurrency inherently is very volatile. So one day it goes up, one day it goes down. Recently it was near 7,000, and then what happened was the announcement take place with China's digital currency, and all of a sudden it went up 40%. So it is very volatile. So it's very hard to be involved in an asset class that has so much volatility. Also, valuation. It's very hard to figure out what is the value of what a cryptocurrency should be. It doesn't have the traditional means. But with the introduction of securities tokens, which is tied more to your business, we'll start to see a lot more credible ways of valuing companies. We also need to see more back office operations. The way these investment companies are run, they need to have a full infrastructure, no different than you will see at Fidelity. And custody has been one of the key areas where it's been very difficult, because storing your cryptocurrency and it being safe is very important. So let me give you some composition of what it looks like. An average fund manager in the space, well, they don't have a lot of experience. There's generally about 6 people at the firm. They have 3 to 4 years of experience. They don't have a lot of assets under management. They don't have a lot of third-party research. So when you look at this asset class, it's so early and there's very little experience, that when experienced players come into this market, it will massively change the way it's being managed. The other thing is that I talked about volatility. There is too much volatility, but with the introduction of new products like security tokens, we should start to see a lot more rationalization. Also, with the introduction of liquidity, with crypto exchanges, with OTC markets, that should become much better over in the future. The other thing I think is important is that when you look at this valuation, the framework of the valuation, the cryptocurrency, how you value it, how you understand how much it's worth, is very difficult at this point because a lot of these cryptocurrencies, they don't have earnings. They don't have revenue. So this is a thing that is difficult for institutional investors to get involved. Also, when you look at some of these asset management firms involved in crypto, they don't have the means of running a business. There's only 6 people in the firm, by and large. They don't have a supporting system. So the person that's managing money is creating spreadsheets. They're also trying to settle the trades. So all of those things right now we're so early on that until we start to see much more institutionalization of the way you manage money, we won't see large pension funds and large institutions invest directly in this asset class. And custody, I think this is one of the most important things. Everybody is worried that when you put and make an investment in crypto, that you could lose everything. That if you lose your private key, or if someone hacks you, you hear about this all the time in exchanges, or in a fund manager could lose or be hacked and you can lose all your money. So this is one of the major issues that institutions would not invest until this gets solved. But I must tell you, a lot of smart people, a lot of large organizations are now building institutional level quality custody platforms. And some of these are like Coinbase has now aggregated $1 billion or more in the first 6 months of this year. Ledger, Fidelity, Digital Asset, these are all brand names that I think is going to be very important to build the infrastructure which allows for this industry to grow. Some of the things I think that were highlighted is that we need for crypto to have some form of insurance so that if there is a hack, if you lose money, there is an insurance policy that protects you from this, and this is already happening with some of the organizations that are involved in this industry. So, what is the message that I want to leave you today? Is that we're in the early stages of a revolution that's taking place. It is the very early stages where there is tremendous amount of inefficiencies. I believe China will be the largest market in the world for cryptocurrency. I believe that majority of what's going to happen in 2020, 21 is that how the whole world will try to cope with and figure out how to work with China. Remember that crypto and blockchain never went away. It was just that it was banned, and now it's going to be coming back, and it's going to come out to the forefront rather than below the radar in China. Also, what we are is that we're in the early stage of what we call penetration. So you will start to see a lot more growth, a lot more institutions involved, infrastructure that's going to be built. And when that infrastructure is going to be built, there's going to be tremendous amount of opportunities. And for those who are entrepreneurs, there will be a lot more money that will be coming into this space that allows you to grow companies, and you will be able to see in the near future much more sizable projects, and it will become a much more global industry. So I believe that now is the time to come. It's still early. There is huge upside. And I am so excited how China is positioned in this market. So thank you so much, and I appreciate your time.